So, what are the most important lessons a father can actually pass on to his daughters? Today, we're going to dive into a really personal answer to that question, one that comes from 21 years of being a dad. Now, this isn't some textbook or parenting manual, it's a collection of hard won advice one dad believes every single daughter needs to hear.
So, where does all this come from? Well, it starts with a really pivotal moment. His oldest daughter is about to get married, and he finds himself just looking back, thinking about the mistakes, the wins, and asking that question that I think every parent eventually faces. What did I actually manage to teach them? And he's the first to say, hey, this is not a one-size-fits-all rule book. It's just his personal journey, his experience, and he's sharing it with the hope that maybe it can help a few other people trying to figure out this whole parenting thing.
Okay, so first things first, he starts with the absolute foundation, love. But here's the thing. He argues that for a daughter, feeling secure in that love comes down to two very different but equally crucial expressions of I love you. One that she hears directly and another one that she sees. And here they are, side by side. It's really that simple. Number one, you have to tell your daughter you love her. And number two, you have to let your daughter see you tell your mother you love her. For him, both of these are totally non-negotiable. So the advice for that first part, man, the source of it is what makes it so powerful. He actually asked an army buddy of his, a guy who was a self-proclaimed player, how to protect his daughter from guys exactly like him. And this was the raw, honest answer he got back. It's a pretty stark reminder that telling her you love her is actually a form of protection. And here's why that's so crucial. When a daughter hears I love you from her dad over and over again, and she connects those words with his actions, care, protection, support, she builds this internal benchmark. It becomes her reference point for what real, genuine affection feels like. And that makes it so much harder for some guy with bad intentions to come along and fool her with empty words. All right, so what about that second I love you, the one she sees? The big insight here is that you shouldn't try to hide all disagreements from your kids. I mean, seeing parents argue with pure anger, yeah, that just creates insecurity. But seeing them disagree with love and respect, that teaches an absolutely priceless lesson. That conflict happens, but it doesn't mean love is gone. It shows her what a healthy resolution looks like. So once you've built that foundation of love, what's next? The next lesson is all about forging a real personal connection. And he says it's built through two forces that seem like opposites, but they're both vital: tenderness and just plain silliness. Now, he makes a really sharp distinction here. We hear a lot today about how men need to be vulnerable, but that's not what he's talking about. For him, tenderness is about showing your daughter that she, specifically, has the power to affect you emotionally. It's not a sign of weakness, it's proof of how strong your bond is. And he tells this story that just perfectly illustrates it. They're at a daddy-daughter dance, and it hits him that she's getting married, and he feels this pang of sadness. But her reply is so quick and witty and loving. He admits he got choked up right there on the dance floor, and that's the point. Letting her see that she, her words, her presence, it all has this incredible impact on him. Okay, so we've had the heartfelt. Now let's switch gears to the hilarious. Because the other side of connection is just letting go, being silly. It's about creating these moments of pure joy that end up forming the bedrock of trust. And man, this guy has some stories. We're talking wearing makeup, a feather boa, a tiara. He even drank tea that his daughters made with salt instead of sugar on purpose. But see, these aren't just funny little memories. He sees every single one of those moments as a deposit into a bank of trust with his girls. And here's the long-term payoff, right? Because you might think, okay, that's cute when they're little, but what's the point? The point is that all that silliness establishes you as a safe person. So when the really tough teenage years hit and life gets complicated, she remembers that her dad isn't just some authority figure. He's also the guy who wore a tiara. And that makes him a lot easier to talk to. All right, so we've covered love and connection. Next up, the father's role shifts to being a guide. And this isn't just about fun and games anymore. It's about providing structure through rules, but also offering wisdom through counsel. This is the classic parenting dilemma, isn't it? You have to be the one in charge, but you also don't want to be this rigid, unbending dictator. The story he tells next is basically a masterclass in how to bend the rules without completely breaking them. Okay, you gotta hear this story. It's fantastic. His daughters find a stray cat, and of course, they want to keep it. Instead of just saying yes or no, he turns it into a full-on negotiation. He agrees, but in return, he wants toast and coffee every Saturday and a monthly car wash.
They actually draw up a formal contract and everybody signs it. But then the cat runs away. So he says, well, I still get my toast, arguing the deal was about keeping a cat, not about that specific cat staying. But then his daughters pull the ultimate power move. They find a new stray cat, he tries to renegotiate for better terms, and his oldest daughter just points to the piece of paper and says this. She used his own logic right back at him. It's just a hilarious lesson in being clever and in knowing when to bend. But, guidance isn't all about clever contracts about cats. As daughters get older, they really need a father's counsel. And he shares this really pivotal story about how he handled his daughter's first crush, a moment that totally set the tone for every conversation they'd have about relationships from then on. Think about this. His daughter, who is only in the 5th grade, nervously tells him a boy likes her. Now, instead of getting all protective or weird about it, he says this. It's just brilliant. In one sentence, he affirms her value, he validates the boy's good taste, and he immediately signals that he is a safe person to talk to about this stuff. He built a bridge of trust instead of a wall of fear. And that brings us to the final lesson. And honestly, this might be the most powerful one of all. It's about the enduring promise a father makes, a promise of protection and permanence that's meant to last a lifetime. Now, this is a tricky one, but it's so important. This is not about wanting violence or being some intimidating tough guy. It's about something much deeper, more primal. A daughter needs to know, deep in her bones, that her father is her protector, that he is strong enough and, more importantly, willing enough to stand up for her. It provides this ultimate sense of security. So when you add all of this up, the love, the connection, the guidance, it all boils down to one single unbreakable promise. One thing that has to be true no matter what. It's this. No matter what happens, no matter where life takes her, who she marries, what she becomes, she needs to know without a single doubt that she always has a home with you. That if she calls at 2 a.m. from halfway across the world and says, "Dad, I need you," the only possible answer is, "I'm on my way." That feeling of an unconditional home base, well, that's everything. So I want to leave you with this final thought. After all these lessons on love and connection and guidance, what do you believe is the one core message that every single child truly needs to hear from their parent? It's definitely something worth thinking about.